Hi, ladybugs. I'm here. Let me get all this stuff going in the right direction. Say hi when you get here if you'd like. If you're new to my page, let us know that too so we can give you a proper welcome. I'm Victoria from Old to Ooh La La Art. Hi, Cindy. Okay, so it's official. Hi, Lori. Oh, Lori, we're going to do some inlays. Hi, Shannon. There's Shannon. Boy, I don't think Shannon ever in this is alive. Pretty impressive, Shannon. Okay, so got a couple things laid out. Your first time watching, well, hi, Kathy. You guys say hi to Kathy. We have a new ladybug in the house. Hi, Peggy. Okay, so let's see where we're going to start here. Where we're going to start is an image from Melange Paint Inlay. I have two left. You can get them at the oolalashop.com. I've counted them, and there's 38 images in this inlay. So it's a great first time inlay because you have so many projects you can do with it. Hi, Lori. So we're going to use just the smallest bit of that. Look, it's just super small. I also used a piece from Trimmings 1. Okay, I used this piece here from Trimmings 1, and that's what you see here. I'm also using Shannon. That's funny. Hi, Barbara. Of course, we're going to use a piece of Vintage Textures because I use it on everything. And this is the part that makes things look like stone, in my opinion. And then I have a piece of, not a piece of, it's a wood. I buy these at Michael's, and they're really inexpensive. If they're $1, I'd be surprised. Wait, I had a label that I just took off. How much are they? They're very inexpensive. Oh, it doesn't show, but I think they're $1. They're by Art Minds. It's called Art Minds, and they have several different sizes. This is one size, and there's shadow boxes on the back, and I do so much with these. This is one size. It's longer than it is wider, and this is another size, and this is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is actually 5 by 5, and it's, cradled on the back. But I love these. But here's what I do. I take them, no sound. Uh-oh. You guys, can you hear me? Check in. Somebody check in. Tell me if you can hear me. Yes, as in yes, you can hear me, Dee. Okay, loud and clear. That's how I like it, loud and clear. Okay, so whoever could not hear me, you may want to go out and come back in or check the settings on your end, because evidently on my end, I'm loud and clear. So yay. Okay, awesome. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for checking in. I appreciate it. Hi, Mary. Hi, Melissa. Okay, so when I buy these little guys, they come with a little piece of twine on them, and they're kind of like staple gun in, and I take something, a screwdriver or something, and I push those out. And then this is like super, like the smallest Phillips head. I take this little sawtooth thing off, and I put it in a jar and I saved them all because I might reattach it someplace else. But then I've got like a couple little holes. They're not bad. Sometimes you can angle something over it, you know, and then sometimes I just fill them in with this wood putty stuff. It takes like 2 seconds. I just fill it in with this plastic wood, and that's what I've done here. And it's actually on this side, and you literally can't tell that I've filled anything in. And I didn't even have to because I'm going to angle this over it, but I just did it. Just did it for whatever reason. So I'm going to put a paint on here. And today, I'm in. Yeah, Connie, see if that works, honey. Oh, good. Okay. Connie's in the mix. So I did one coat of DIY crinoline. We're using DIY crinoline today. It's that kind of a look, you guys. I finally, this drove me crazy. I put a piece of tape over my glass mat because that, and there's glare that's from the light on my document camera. But there was a big piece of glare right there that drove me nuts. So I just put a piece of tape over it. Wasn't very crazy. Skin cat. Okay, so we're going to talk about inlay. So inlay, this is the inlay, and I've taken it and I've silhouetted all the way around the inlay. And I like to do that because then I don't have like straight lines that sometimes can show up in your paint on the other end. We'll talk about when we get to that part. But I like the silhouette, and then just the way I don't know how to explain it. So an inlay is live paint. This is live paint. It goes on your project paint side down. Okay, so it'll go on our project like that. But it's live paint. So the minute this gets wet, it reactivates and it becomes wet paint. Okay, hi Karen. And you can take and you can paint something. You can lay this inlay into your wet paint, dry it, rehydrate it, peel it off, and the paint from this inlay has transferred onto your piece, and it's magic. And it looks really cool, and I really like it. This is here, I'll show you one that I did. This is a paint inlay that I did. It's crooked. It's in the frame crooked. You take it out of the frame. There. This is a paint inlay that I did. And this is the Dollar Tree frame that I just gave a beautiful paint job to. So, I mean, this costs nothing to do. This pennies to do this. Maybe, I don't know, $2. Yeah, it's beautiful. So inlay, and this is an inlay from Melange. I've not even made a dent in my Melange inlay pack because, like I said, there's 38 different images in there that you can work with. Hi, Renee. All right, let me get my ducks in a row. So I've given this one coat, which I would suggest you do. Do one coat, let it dry. Now we're going to come back and we're going to do another coat. And while that's wet, we're going to inlay our inlay. Yeah, Melange is the best. I love Melange. And I like that it's not really black. It's like kind of like a charcoaly brown. I really like that. So I need to think of a few things, okay? I want to use this because I want that kind of stone look. And so here's my layout. I'm going to do this here, which is made with hot glue and painted, okay? With just chalk paint. It's not sealed. That's not been sealed yet, okay? Then I'm going to I'm going to do it this side up just so you can see it because it's too faint if I do it paint side down. This is just for layout purposes. I'm going to do like this, just like this, okay? And then I want to have this kind of stone over it, but I don't want any lines to go through this middle piece. I want that to stay. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the inlay on first. Let me think, got to think it through. The Stone Look Stamp Mary is from Vintage Textures, and it's got 4 quarters, and I'm out of them right now. I'll have some after the first of the year. It's called Vintage Textures. And I use it all the time. You're used to seeing me use this one, Mary. This is the one I use all the time. Distress. I use this on everything. But I use this when I want a stone look, because that looks like stone, and you'll see when we get there. Okay, so what I have to think of is, what is the best way for me to get this inked on here and not get ink in this middle part? I want this middle part to stay. So I think the best thing to do is to put this on first. We're going to put this on first. Then we'll dry it, we'll seal it, and then we'll stamp it, and then we'll put this on. Yes, that's what we're going to do. Okay, so I've got a plan. Everything's backwards. No, it's not backwards, honey. Look, it's just the paint inlay is paint side up, so you can see it. See, this is how it's going to be. And now it's not backwards. But I just did it paint side up, so it was easier for you to see what my layout was going to look like. So I think we're good, right, everybody? Everything's good? Somebody check in. I think everything's okay. Okay, so I'm going to... All right. It's all right, Shirley. It's okay. I mean, I can see. Yeah. Because these are backwards. If they're paint side up, they're backwards. Paint side down, they're the right way, but that's the way it's going to transfer. So let's lay these over to the side. Let's get our paint out. And the thing with these is you got to move kind of fast. Kind of fast. So I'm going to get some paint out. I'm going to water my paint down a little bit. I don't want to get these wet, so let's move them to the other side of the tape. Just because my paint's a little thick because it's a little bit older. So here's some paint. Now, I'm going to leave this on here for right now for measurement purposes. I want a little tiny bit of the board to show. I'm going to hold that in place, and I'm going to put a coat of paint on here. I don't have to worry about getting too close over here because the inlay is not going to come over that far. You want a nice, even, wet coat of paint. I'm going to go like this so I don't have anything going off the sides. Okay, like that. I'm going to give it a little tiny spritz of water, okay? Just because. Then I'm going to give this a little spritz of water. And what it does is it helps that paper relax, and then you don't get so much wrinkles. This is the hard part to me. Because you gotta go with it. Once it's down, it's down. Okay, so that's going there. We give this a little spritz. And this saves things from getting super, super wrinkled when you put them down. Sometimes things get wrinkled and then... Wow. Okay, that worked out pretty well. So now I'm going to take and I have my brayer. I'm just going to brayer this in the best I can. I'm going to give another little shot, and then I'm going to take a clean towel and I'm going to get it damp, damp, damp. I am using chalk paint, Lynn. It's not the latex paint. No, this time this is a 5x5 block, and now I'm going to come and I'm going to go like this and make sure everything's damp. I might even give it another little. You need to make sure everything's damp on the other side so it transfers. And you do that with a wet cloth. So here's the thing with inlays. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit. They're not perfect. I've had them turn out beautiful. I've had them turn out not beautiful. It's the nature of the beast, okay? It's not a perfect medium, but that's kind of the beauty of it, okay? So we've got that on. That's going to go there. So that's good spacing, okay? Okay, so that's good. So now we're going to dry this. Dry, dry, dry. Oh, hi, Laura. Happy New Year. Okay, somebody asked some questions. 5x5 block, DIY, crinoline paint. Okay, now we're going to dry this. I'm going to give it one more little, just to kind of drive it down into that paint. I'm a little concerned about right here, but you know, it is what it is. So now I'm going to dry, and you'll see it'll turn kind of opaque again. See on this side where it's turning kind of opaque over here? It's drying, and that's how you know it's drying. Hi, Sheila. Okay. Very, very dry. That's a good thing. Now we're going to rehydrate it to get it to release from the paint. So it will release from the paint that we've inlaid it to, but it will leave its paint behind, is the theory. Let's get close. Okay. So I'm going to take off this little piece over here first to see if we're headed in the right direction. So I'm rehydrating, and as you can see, it gets dark again. Okay. So I'm just doing this with a paper towel. You can use like a shop rag, or so I'm just going like this. I'm going to find the edge of my paper, which is sometimes a challenge when you trim it close like that. But hi, Brenda. Hi, Paula. Some of my OG ladybugs. Hi, Sheila. All right. So I'm just going to take the end of my scissors and go in here and lift up a little piece of that paper, just like that. Okay. And then we'll pull back. Look, perfect transfer. Okay. Perfect. All right. So we know we're on the right track. So now let's rehydrate the whole thing. I'll give it a quick mist, not a lot. I don't want to drown it. And I'll still hit it with a wet cloth of some kind. Okay. A sponge or a shop towel or something. When you're pulling this back, if it's resisting you, that means it's not wet enough. Okay. You need to get it wet, wetter. Everybody cross your fingers. It's always a little stressful. I don't know. Here we go. Look at that. Could not be more perfect. Now I'm getting a little bit of resistance. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to get it damp again. You don't want these things soft and wet because what will happen is your paint will begin to run. You don't want them soft and wet, but they do need to be damp enough to release from the paint that they've kind of inlaid into. Okay, so here we go. I've gotten it a little bit damp again, but look how perfect. That's just perfect. Pull, pull, pull. Oh, just a really good outcome. I do want to I'm not sure my little number came out good. There we go. Really, really good. Oh, really good. Okay. And that's just what you're going to do. You're going to baby it. Don't rip it off like a Band-Aid. It's not a fast thing. Slow and easy wins the race. Okay. Make sure that your paper stays hydrated so you can pull it off easily. You shouldn't have any resistance here. Okay. Oh, that's a perfect outcome. Save that because you can use it again. That's a perfect outcome. It's beautiful. I just dropped my glasses. Really, really good. Okay, now we need to take the letters. Laura, I'm holding my breath. Where do you purchase these? Kathy, I have 2 left. It's called Melange Inlay. And there's a link in the title of this live that will take you to my shop. It's called Melange Inlay. It's an iron orchid product. Let's take our words off and hope we got a good result up here as well. Yeah, I always hold my breath when I do these. I generally have really good results, but you never know. And maybe that's kind of the fun of them too. It's like, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Which is what makes Melange so wonderful, is that they're smaller images, like putting this like on a whole big one on the front of a dresser. That would be, yay. That would be very, very, yeah. What's the word I'm looking for? Stressful. So now I'm trying to grab a little corner of my paper without gouging my paint. Don't want to gouge my paint. Okay. So there, so here's got a little piece of my paper going, and my paper is nice and damp. And I'm going to pull it away, and I have a perfect result. Really, really nice. Oh, it's so pretty. This is going to be just like a shelf sitter. Okay, so these are reusable. You can get another use or 2 out of these. They'll be a little bit lighter every time. And I also decoupage with them, which you saw me do with that blue tag that we did. So save these, put them aside and let them dry. So that's what I've done there. I've put those aside and let them dry. So we've got a really nice result there. I'm going to dry this. We're going to paint the sides dark and, grunge this up. It's going to be really pretty. How do you store the inlay for another use? I generally put them back, those are pretty small pieces, so I might put them in a baggie and put them back in with the Melange package. So all my Melange stuff stays together. So I put the inlay pieces that have been used, I put them back in with the inlay, sometimes like in a little baggie. Yeah. Hi, Deborah. So now what we have to remember is this is live paint, okay? If I came in willy-nilly with a polyacrylic sealer and started brushing that on, I would brush that design away, okay? So you cannot do that. That is not a thing. But here's another thing that you have to think of. or if you're going to recreate this project. Hot glue does not like to stick to sealed surfaces. It's too slick, okay? So hot glue will stick to chalk paint really well, okay? So what I have to do, I've got to think this through, and I have to think of the steps that I'm going to take so I get a good result. And here's the steps that I'm going to take with this. I'm going to stamp on raw chalk paint, okay? When I lay this down, I think I'll probably do it this way. I'm going to try to get a place like right here. You can see that doesn't really go in the circle. I'm going to try to keep my circle, and I just won't press there. Okay, so that's, I'll move this out of the way. So I'll go probably like this. I'll stamp. I'll dry that ink. Then I will spray this whole thing with a spray sealer. Okay. Bye, Shannon. With a spray sealer. And then you can seal it however you want. And we will seal it, and we'll antique the heck out of it. Yeah, because this thing, once it's antiqued, oh, it's going to be gorgeous. It's going to be beautiful. And this will be a beautiful shelf sitter. So I'm a little nervous because I always get nervous. You guys aren't the only ones that get nervous. I get nervous too. Plus, I got y'all watching me, thinking I know what I'm doing. All right, so I'm going to take this away, and I want to ink. You know, I could make myself a little mask for right there, and I think I will. And I'm just going to, look, I'm just going to cut a paper towel. Which mold room is that? It's from Trimmings 1. I'm just going to kind of, this is like in the middle, just like a rough mask. I'm not wanting it to be perfect, but do you see what I've done? I've folded that in half. And now I'm going to cut a circle, just like this. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. I just want, I have a feeling it's going to be an egg. It is an egg. Okay, so there we go. There. And I don't know how that happened. I don't know how I got an egg, but I got an egg. So, but here, it's close enough. So that's just a little like on the fly mask that I'm going to put here because I don't want any ink to go in that middle part. Okay, so there's a little mask that I'm going to put on. Then I'm going to, I just re-inked my little, this guy. So I'm going to, so it's very heavy with ink. So I'm going to ink this, and then I'm going to offload it because I don't want crazy ink. I want a hint. And I'm using this linen. Oh, you know what? Do I want to use this brown, or do I want to use gray? I'm going to do a little bit of on the back just to see what color it looks like. Yeah, I'm going to do the brown. Why not? I usually use gray. Well, we could use gray. I know gray is the right thing to do. I know gray is the better thing to do. So here's my gray, stone gray. Because if you stamp, if you ink this particular, where's my alcohol? If you ink that particular stamp in gray, it looks just like stone. And I want this to look like a piece of stone. So let's take all of the brown off. There's all my brown ink that I just put on there. All right, I'm going to give this just a little kiss with some heat, dry it off. Not too close because it's plastic. Okay. All right, there we go. So I'm going to do it in gray. Where's my little mask that I spent so much time on? There it is. Okay. There's my little mask, my little paper towel mask. And now we're going to go with okay, so I've got gray. Gray makes me crazy because I never can tell if it's really on there or not. Like you can't really see it. It makes me a little crazy. All right, well, we're just going to have to, hi Nancy, we're just going to have faith that it's there. All right, so here's my piece. I'm going to put my little mask right here so I don't get a big weird line right through the face of my whatever that is. And I'm going to, I don't want it to come all the way to this edge. I don't think. Do I? I don't know. I don't know what I want. I don't think I do. So I'm going to go like this. And I'm going to touch very, very gently, and then I'm going to peek at it. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So I'm peeking, but I'm keeping everything in place with one hand or the other. Okay, so, that's just what I had in mind. So doesn't that look like stone? And then I don't have anything right there, which is what I wanted. Okay, so that looks amazing. I'm very happy with that. And then this is going to go here and be really antiqued. It's going to look really good. Now, what we have to remember, and this is something, whenever you're working with inlays, you have to remember that you cannot brush on these. And when I first started working with inlays, I did make that mistake a couple times because you're so used to brushing on a sealer, right? I mean, that's what we do. We brush on a sealer. You can't do that on these because it's live paint. So I love this because it's got like these little, I'm going to put a couple of little, I don't know what you call them. They're like little circles, but little dots, but I like them. I like the way they look. So I usually come in and add a couple here and there. You see what I've done? Yeah, like I think we need one right there. So I just come in and you see I've not re-inked anything. There's enough ink left on here to give me what I want. Yeah, very, very nice. That looks like a piece of stone, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm very happy about this. So now we have to spray seal this. But if I get that sealer over here, I won't be able to get this to stick. So I think we'll attach this first. We're going to attach this guy first with hot glue. Hot glue will not stick to a shiny sealed surface. And I know that because for a while there I was doing things and I couldn't get anything to stick. And it took me a while to figure it out. It's like, well, it won't stick because the surface is shiny. So, and you know what? Thank you, Paula. I have, I'm getting in the weeds here. I might put something in there. I don't know. I kind of like it the way it is. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, we're going to attach this. So I can attach this with hot glue. And what I will do is, because I've made this out of hot glue, you can see that I get a very, very smooth surface on the back of my hot glue castings because my gun is so hot. So I take a really rough emery board. I get these at Dollar Tree. And I rough up the back of this. I want to pit the back of this a little bit. Okay. And then with this, you can see it. See it now? It's pitted up and kind of, I'm trying to get you there. See how part of it's shiny and part of it's not? This part right here will accept the glue really nicely, the hot glue. And the chalk paint is pitted. So you'll get a really good adhesion where if this was sealed, this would not stick no matter how much you did this. Okay, so I'm bringing it just a little bit over from the edge. That looks good right there. So I'm going to put it on here, and I'm going to be aware that I don't want a ton on here because I don't want it oozing out the sides. Okay, up, down, and then you won't get those stringies. And then I'm just going to put it there and kind of just like that. Hold it on till it cools. And now that hot glue has got something to etch into. It's etched into the chalk paint, which is very porous, and it's etched into the back of this hot glue mold, which is also porous because we etched all the shine off of it. That looks amazing. That's going to be so cool, like standing in a, we'll have to touch up with paint, but that's okay. Yeah, that looks amazing. That's just what I had in mind. Now we're going to seal this, and we're going to seal it with something called workable fixative. And I use this on my watercolors. And you can, oh, Francis, that's so sweet, honey. Thank you. You can use this on watercolors, and you can also use it on your inlays. And it's a spray sealer, and it's going to seal this, and then we can go across it with our polyvine and our antiquing gel. And so I'm going to put this down in kind of in my trash can because I don't want these fumes to float up onto my camera lens. Okay. Thank you, Lynn. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to set, and I'm just spraying this part. We'll seal this with polyvine. I'm just spraying the live paint, okay? So I'm going to put it down in my trash can so I don't get the back spray on the lens of my camera. Take this up really, really well. A couple of light coats is better than one big giant coat, obviously. So you can see I've got a little bit of, see, a little bit of the shine there. So I'm going to dry that. And then I'm going to hit it again. Oh, it does. It looks like an old book cover. You're right. Okay, so I've got two nice coats on there. We're going to dry it. Ooh, this stuff smells. And now we can hit it with antiquing gel. We can hit it with polyvine. Yes, Lynn, any spray, polyvine spray would work. Like I have polyacrylic min wax that I could use. I just happen to have this workable fixative right here on my table, so I use that. But anything that you can spray on will work, yes. Okay, so now we are sealed. And now we can seal with Polyvine. And I think I'm going to use Dead Flat Finish because I want this to look like stone, right? So I'm going to use Dead Flat Finish. I have these new paintbrushes that I love. I got I think 12 of them for $14 on Amazon. I'll put a link to my Amazon store in they're really good. I really like them. So I'm going to start on the sides because I have to do the sides. I don't know why I feel compelled to do the sides because I think I'm going to paint the sides like a dark brown, so I don't really need to do this. But while I'm here, I might as well do it. Let's back you guys out a little bit. I'm thinking of putting like a really deep, like an umber on the edges and kind of pulling it onto the face of the board. I think would look really cool. And then I'm going to put some sealer on. Can I show that bottle? I am going to antique it, Jacqueline. This is called Decorator's Varnish, and it's Dead Flat Finish. It's Polyvine, and this is Heavy Duty Extreme Varnish, and this is Satin Finish. They both come in satin or dead flat. It just depends on what you want. I like both of them. They both work really well. This is really, really good. This is like super heavy duty, like it's got like a UV protectant. And I used to sell this. It's a product out of England. But I had to downsize because I'm one person and I just can't do everything. So I think that you can probably find it on Etsy. Before I was a wholesaler, I used to find it on Etsy. And it lasts forever. So I'm just putting in a clear coat over this. I painted this hot glue mold with the DIY crinoline, and I'm just sealing it so when I put my antiquing gel over it, I can brush it back. Now, see, now here's the thing. Oh, Amazon has it. Sometimes Amazon has it, sometimes it doesn't. You guys, if you're going to order it, give me a chance after this is over to go put it in my store. And if you wouldn't mind ordering it through my store. For a long time, Amazon did not have it. So it doesn't cost you anything more, but I'll get a couple pennies. So if you give me a chance, I'll go put it in there. Last time I looked, they didn't have it. So, okay, so where are we at? Okay, now I know that this is sealed because I sealed it myself, but I always doubt it. So I always take like a small place and try it. Yeah, see, it's sealed. But I'm just like gun shy. So I'm going to seal it. Try not to go back and forth too much because it's scary. But I'm just going to come and seal the whole thing now, although it's already sealed. But see, if I did this without having sprayed that sealer on first, this entire thing would be smeared to no end. You'd have no design left. Okay, so that's all sealed. Very nice. We've got this sealed over here. Try not to let the sealer like pool up here because you want the antiquing gel to go here. Boy, when we antique this, it's going to be beautiful. Ooh, and we might even hit that with a rub and buff, right? Thank you, Lynn, for waiting. Thank you, Mary, for waiting. I appreciate that. Every little penny helps. There's some changes coming to Facebook, you guys, in the spring, and I don't know how it's going to be. It's different. It's very different in the way that we purchase things. So, yeah, I'm trying to figure that all out. All right, so we've got that all done. Let's give that give that a quick dry. This thing's going to be so pretty. So my idea was to do the edges like in a really dark, like a burnt umber. I'm trying to find it right now. Yeah, like in a dark burnt umber. And then kind of pull it onto the face. And what's so nice about these, because the backs of them are so cool, you could do another design of something, even if you just laid a piece of decoupage paper in there, or even just scrapbook paper in there, and make it a two-sided thing. This turned out really, really nice. I'm very, very happy about it. I have a jar that I made with one of these labels on it. I'm going to go get it in a second and show it to you. Yeah, I love the look of this too. Very, very happy. The melange is just, it's just really good. Of course, you know, that old worldly looking stuff, but really what makes it is that stamp, right? Because it looks like marble. Okay, I'm going to give that a chance to cool off. And while that's cooling off, my heat gun does make noise. It makes a lot of noise, but I have an upgraded camera system that I invested in, and it was money very well spent, and it's noise canceling. So if I give it like 1 second after I start anything noisy, it will cancel that out and just let you hear my voice. So that's a really nice feature, and worth it. Absolutely worth it. I want this to be enjoyable for you guys, because, you know, I put thought and effort into this. So I want the filming of it to be enjoyable. So I invested in a bit of like I have I have an upgraded camera, and I pay for a streaming service. And so, yeah, so that's why you don't hear my my heat gun. I'm going to go inside and get the jar that I did. I'll be 1 second. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm back. Stepped on something, and now I got something in my heel. Doesn't feel great. Yeah, the stamp is the one with the textures on it. Yeah, and Sheila, I don't have any right now. If you can wait until after the first of the year, I'll have some. Hi, Shannon. Okay, so I went inside and I got this jar, and I'm pretty sure that I did a live on this. This is a candle. You know those candles, and they come with a lid. Okay, so I save all that stuff. And this is, again, from, let me make sure I'm telling you the right thing. This is a transfer. Is it? I can't tell. I can't tell if it's a transfer or if it's from Melange. But look, same kind of theory. You can see the vintage textures. I did it on the top. I made myself a double-sided fleur-de-lis handle, and this sits in my living room. And it's very, very cool. Very cool. So kind of a rough texture to it. Yeah. So now it's making me crazy. Is that an inlay or is it a transfer? I think it's a transfer, and I think it's from Brocante. I believe that's from Brocante, right? Does anybody recognize that? Hi, Francis. Brocante. Yeah. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you. Yeah. Is the handle glue or clay? This is glue. This is glue. And I just made two of the same and I put them together and I let them sit and dry. Here's the thing, when you do back to back, if you're trying to do back to back things with hot glue, sometimes it's hard because the hot glue back, although it's flat, it's flat kind of this way, it's a little bit kind of wavy, and it's hard to get them to really, really match up like this, So if you're going to make a double-sided handle like that, you're better off working in clay. Sometimes only clay will do. And that's one of the times I think that clay works best. Okay, so let's get back to the project at hand. What glue did I use to type on? Just type on. Yep, and let it sit. Yep, type on. That being said, I don't use this to take the top off. I take the top off this way. There's no sense in tempting fate. It's on there really, really strong. It's super strong. But I always just, the times that I need to take the lid off, which is never, it's just, it's one of those useless, pretty things that just sits there. So I never take the lid off. I think there's a live someplace for this, and I'll try to find it and post it. All right, let's talk about what we're going to do here. Well, I know what we're going to do here. We got our antiquing gel, so let's get that out. And yeah, I like to save old things. I have a whole shelf of jars, and I've made so many beautiful things out of jars. And, you just throw them away, so yay. Like, look, I have a whole setup of old pickle jars, and I used the crockery stamp. I have probably 3, 6, 9, probably about 12 of these on a big Lazy Susan over to my right here. And I put a little jute around them, and they hold my brushes. So yeah, and it was free. All I had to do was, here, let me see if I can. Nah, I'm not going to mess with it. I was going to try and show you, but I don't want to mess with it. Okay, so here we go. We are going to antique. This is a good antique brush right here. So everything is sealed, so we can put antiquing gel on here and we can brush it back. Okay, so I need a paper towel and I need to get it wet. Damp. Wet's not the right word. Damp. Okay, so now there's my damp towel. I'll have that ready. I generally work out of the cap. So I'll get this with a little bit of, and I usually put a little bit of water in it because it's quite thick. It's kind of like pudding. I just kind of work it into my brush. And then do I prime the jar first? Mary, I think I did prime those, and I primed them with Zizzor 123 primer. And that's in my Amazon shop as well. I like Zizzor 123 primer. Anything, look, I'm going to show it to you. Anything that I'm going to paint that's glass, I did the jar with that too. I use this to prime it with. But make sure you keep the nozzle clean because it jams up really easy. But this stuff's really good. And you don't have to put like a huge coat on it. You just have to give it like a misting of it almost to give it some tooth. So you don't have to like completely cover your item. You just want to give it a little bit of tooth, and it works really well. I mean, like I've painted ceramic things, and yeah, it works really, really well. Oh, awesome. That's awesome, Francis. I'm glad to hear that. All right, so I'm just going to start. Let's do a close-up. Why not? So I'm going to start over here on the side, and I know that I'm all sealed, so I'm just going to drive all my antiquing gel down into every nook and cranny, just like this. Every little nook and cranny. And I kind of use like a little scrubby kind of pushy motion, okay? I'm going to come up the side like this. Push it into the side like that. The very first thing I do is I clean my sides up. Okay, that does look like a book. So I'll come in and I'll push that gel in on the sides just like that. I don't want to take it all off, but I just kind of push it in a little bit. And then I'll kind of come over here and I'll kind of clean this edge up a little bit here, push that in a bit. I'm not so worried about these sides because I think I'm going to paint them dark. And then I'm going to take a damp part of my towel and I'm going to pounce. Look at that. Pouncy, pounce, pounce. My first pass is a pounce, just like that. My second pass is going to be more of a wipe, okay? It does look just like a sweet little book, doesn't it? It'll look beautiful on like one of those tiered trays or just sitting anywhere. Then I come in with a little bit wetter and I wipe. And I'm wanting to wipe the antiquing gel off of the top so you can see how it's kind of muddy over here, and over here it's cleaner. And it's just kind of, so I'm wiping just the top, and taking that antiquing gel off. Boom. How fabulous is that? That is fabulous for a couple of pennies. This costs like nothing to make, you guys. I think this board was like, I think maybe they're like $1.25, but I think they're $1. You know, you've used 1/38 of the Melange Inlay. So that's nothing. Maybe what, $1 for that. A little bit of hot glue. I mean, once you make your initial investment, this stuff does not cost a lot to make. That looks amazing. Yeah, I love it too. Thank you, Mary. Let's paint the sides and see what trouble we can get into with those. Because I think the sides painted and then bring some of that dark down onto the face of this. Look how sweet it is. Like a little sweet little book. All right, let's see what the trouble we can get into here with this. I think I'm going to do this. Not 1,000% married to it. I just know I love burnt umber, the color. Okay, come on out of there, you. That looks like fudge. I'm going to go in there and dig some of this out. This might be too, nah, it's wet down at the bottom. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put some of this on here, and then I'm going to get it wet and hope for the best. It's going to be very messy, but that's okay. So I've put a little bit of that burnt umber on here. I'm going to get it wet. I'm not 1,000% sure that this is what I'm going to do, but I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I'm going to paint this on the sides and pull it onto the face of my board. So I always think sides of things look really good painted dark. So I'm just doing this. I'll paint the bottom of my... When I'm painting something and I don't want it to get on the face, I come right straight across like this. And the chances are pretty good that you're not going to get it on the face of your project just yet. I'm going to want it on the face of my project, but I want to be the one to decide how much of that goes on there. I feel like I might want to mix this with a little black. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. So now I'm going to take my brush. Okay. Need to go get groceries. Okay. I'm I'm going to take my brush. I've got my wet towel right here. Get it damp. And I'm just going to kind of squiggle a little bit of this brown paint up onto here, okay? And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to kind of dab it and kind of do this. Almost like a little kind of a scrubby kind of thing. I just want, I mean, like, in essence, I'm taking almost all of it off, but I want just a little bit of that brown. Do I like the brown? Do I want to hit it with some? I think I like the brown. Yeah, I'm going to go with the brown. We're doing brown. And then I'm also going to come and hit it with some antiquing gel as well. After it's on there and it's dry, we'll go around all the edges with antiquing gel. So let's get, this doesn't have to be extreme close up. So I'm if I come straight off the edge like this, I'm less likely to get anything on the face of my project. And then I can kind of come with my finger and clean it up like that if I need to. So just like that. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do a little, like just a little kind of bumpy bump with my brush. Maybe come in a little bit with my finger and kind of, and then come in with my, kind of hit it and kind of do that kind of thing with it. And scrub it just a little bit. So I got just like a little bit of a brown tone there. If it's too much because it's sealed, I can come in and pull back even more. I know I generally like things a little heavier in the corner. So that looks really good. Okay. We've got just 2 more edges to do. I don't know if you can see, but I'm painting the edge of this mold because it's kind of big. So I'm painting the edge of that mold. See how? On the bottom and the top. And I'll seal these brown parts too with the polyvine. So they're nice and sealed. And we're going to go over it with antiquing gel as well. And pull some of the antiquing gel onto the face of the book. It's a book now. It didn't start as a book, but it does look just like a book. I didn't think about that when I was designing, you know, what it was going to look like. It didn't occur to me that as soon as I put that on the side there, it was going to look like a book binding, but that's exactly what it looks like. Which is fine. No problem at all. Kind of a little happy accident. So I'm going to put a little bit of brown here. I'm going to come in with my finger and do that. And then I'm going to come in and a little bit of, with my finger, and then I'm going to come in with my wet and kind of brush it out. And because it's sealed, if you've gotten too heavy, you can go back in and you can kind of take some of it off. So see, it's got kind of got some like variation on it and stuff. It looks good. I will probably off camera go over this another time to make it more even. I don't know, kind of like that too, though. It kind of looks like wood. But what I know I'm going to do is drag just a little bit of this right along here, just a little bit. I'm going to come in with my little towel and scrub that out there because I want to have some of that brown there too. And I'm going to put it over here as well. Just a little tiny bit. Just so I have that. And I need to paint that too. I get tired of sitting here, so I'm going to do that off camera. Okay, so there's that. That looks really good. That looks really good. I'm going to dry it. I want a little bit more right there. Yeah. Should we hit this with rub and buff, you guys? I feel like we should. I feel like that's the thing to do. Everything's better with rub and buff. Here's my rub and buff, and here's my antiquing gel. Remember I said I was going to put a little bit on the face here. So I'm going to get a little part of my clean towel. I'm going to get it a little bit damp. And this doesn't have a lot of product on it. I'm going to give just a couple of quick little wipes like that, just like that. And then I'm going to come back in and just kind of blend it in a little bit. And it's a subtle thing, but the sealer kind of grabs this stuff. See, it's just like, it's subtle, but it's there. So that looks really, really good. Let's put a little bit in around here. Yeah, that looks great. And then I was going to come and do all around my edges like that. Well, that got a little aggressive, Victoria. And just kind of rub it out like that. That looks really good. I'm very happy with that. I took too much off right there, so I'm going to come back in with my finger. That looks like a proper piece of stone, doesn't it? That looks really good. So I wonder if I just came and I might just come and antique all of my edges, not put another, yeah, I think I will. I think I'll come and antique all my edges and not put another coat of that brown. I'm just going to antique it. This looks really good. I'm very happy about this. Yes to the rub and buff. Okay, you got it. All right, so this looks really nice. Let's do a little something, something right in there. It needs a little. Okay, that looks good. Let's rub and buff. Let's close up rub and buff, because why not? Now, I have been known to take a very fine brush and like maybe take my rub and buff and line out the circle around here, which I think I might do. That would look really, really good. Yeah, you need to go and take stock for sure. So I might do that. I might take the rub and buff and do it over here, and off camera I'll do it because it's very intricate work. I'm going to use one of these little eyeliner brushes, and I'll probably put a circle of rub and buff right there. Okay, and maybe that little fan thing. But here we can do together. And I generally use a brush when I'm using rub and buff because I feel like I have a little bit more control. And your fingers are kind of fat and they'll go places that you don't want them to. And the only way to get rub and buff off is to gently sand it off. Okay, fine. So let's do a little bit of rub and buff action. I lay my brush flat. And just go over the top. I don't have a lot on my brush, so let's remedy that. You guys, I'm working on a journal right now, and I've got some Valentine's Day stuff in the hopper that I'm excited about. Mostly paper. You know how I love my paper. All right, so I kind of lay it flat, and I just go across the top. Yeah, that looks amazing. Really, really good. I'm not putting a ton on here. Doesn't that look nice? Oh, so good. And I'm going to do these two kind of, this particular trimming's one. This trim has these like side pieces that you don't really see until you've cast it, and it's really, really good. I use this one a lot. So I'm just going to come and put a little bit of gold along here, a little bit of gold along this side. Oh, that looks amazing. Really, really pretty. Looks very old. Looks like it's been around for a long time. Now this stuff dries like almost immediately. I'm going to buff it because rub and buff. Get it? Don't forget the buff part. It makes a difference. You probably won't be able to see it on camera, but in person you'll definitely see it. And I take a paper towel and I go like this. Get it nice and soft. And I take the nice soft part. And this is not about pressure, it's about friction, okay? So I'm not pressing hard, but there's a lot of friction. And what it does is it makes this just glow. And nothing comes off. But can you see the glow now? Yeah. So that's the rub part of rub and buff. This looks amazing. I'm very happy with it. Okay, so that is a little piece of melange. One of, there's like 37 or 38 images on melange. So it's a giver. You can do a lot with it. I think I'm gonna do this right now while we're here together. Why not? I'm going to darken these sides with antiquing gel. And I'm gonna go like this. So they're gonna be quite dark. And then I'm gonna rub them back. And I think it'll give a real cool effect over that paint. At least that's what I'm hoping. Okay, so I've got it like that. Then I'm going to come damp, pounce, pounce. Oh, yeah. Just like that. That's what I'm doing. So it's got kind of like, I might have to come in and fill in a little bit with a brown. It's not solid. It just looks cool. It looks like real kind of weathered wood, which I like. Yeah. So not something that I've really done before, but the project kind of led me in this direction. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to do it here as well. So again, I don't want to get a lot of this product on the face. So I'm going to keep my brush kind of flat and come right across the front like that. And then you won't get as much. And then if you do get a little bit, you can go with your finger like that and take it right off. Or you can just kind of bop it in like that if you want to, if you want it a little bit darker on the sides, because that looks good. None of this is written in stone, you guys. It's like you're in the moment. You're there with your project. You know what it looks like. I'm giving you some guidelines, and then it's up to you to fine tune. So now I'm just gonna look, I'm just gonna pounce a little bit, and that gives me like when that dries, that's gonna look really cool. It's a very kind of variegated kind of old world look that I was not counting on, and I'm really happy about it. It looks good. See, so when it's to the side, yeah, that looks really good. I feel like I got a little too much, or maybe not enough. Probably not enough. And then we're going to do the bottom. Just like this. Kind of pounce along there. Give a little pounce like this. I'm not taking it all off because I want it to dry and look kind of dark. That looks really cool. I'll do this side off camera, but that looks really good. That's a really kind of a cool little something that I wasn't really quite counting on, but it works for me. And now I'm just making sure that my edges are dark with some of this antiquing gel. And I'll come back with my fingers and just kind of tap it in. Okay, that is it. I'm going to finish that one side off camera. And I'm going to paint a gold circle around the face of that thing that we were so super careful not to put a line across. I don't know why I was so invested in that, but I was. So that looks really cool. So that's just a little 5x5 piece of wood that started out, you know, looking like this. And we used the melange. We used a little bit from Trimmings 1. We gave it a cool little stamp with some vintage textures. And then we just started playing with some paint and with some, look, I mean, we've just got this whole world, just goodness here, you know? So don't be afraid to get in there, and I'm going to put that in there, and I'm just going to kind of zhuzh it with my finger. You know, that's really what you want. You want a very kind of imperfect look, and that's imperfect, but it looks really good. So that is it for me today, you guys. Thanks for being here for Settle In Saturdays. We will see each other again on Tuesday for a Tag Along Tuesday, and we'll probably do some work on the journal that I'm working on because there's tags in that journal. So we'll do some work there. Pink, Parisy, you know, shabby, you know, my wheelhouse. I needed to get back to my Paris stuff after Christmas. So I think I started that like the day after Christmas. It's really pretty. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you need anything, the oolalashop.com. If you need any of the products that I used today, I'm going to go add some, what do you call that stuff? Polyvine to my Amazon store. So thank you for waiting to buy that. And I will see you Tuesday. Thanks for being here, ladybugs.